Are you new to roguelites? Do you feel like there are so many roguelites out there? It feels like if you close your eyes and pick one randomly from a sea of games, there's a good chance it is a roguelite, and you're not sure which ones are good? Well, good news! I have that same issue of me seeing something I like, picking it, and it turns out, surprise, it's a roguelite. So I've subjected myself to this exact type of torture to create a list of games that I've enjoyed over the years and wanted to put together a type of list. So I have 3 different types of criteria of how I want to rank these games. So number 1, roguelites that have had their final update and are done. So that means when you play this game, there are no more updates and you don't have to worry about having to revisit the game and you're free to play and do whatever you'd like. Number 2, roguelites that have been getting updated and are fully released. These games have fully come out and are still being supported with potential DLC and patch updates on the way, with a relatively active community. And number 3, early access, and they're a little crunchy. These are games that are just starting out and have just kind of entered early access or are still being worked on. Games that are still being incubated and worked on with frequent updates and a pretty solid community. So, with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you have any roguelite recommendations or comfort roguelites that, maybe people haven't seen yet. And with that being said, let's dive in onto our first game. Let's start off the first category of games that are completely out as strong as possible, and I have the perfect game. Have a Nice Death. Have a Nice Death follows, you guessed it, the Grim Reaper himself, and he is exhausted. Having enough of the mundane bureaucracy of the afterlife, Death decides to cash in on some of his PTO. However, he finds that he can't leave. Stopped by a secret plot led by his upper management known as the Sorrows, Hellbent, Death journeys through each of the afterlife's departments to whip his employees into shape and escape his eternal 9 to 5. The game is humorous, and with his corporate afterlife wordplay, fun interactions with your fellow coworkers in the afterlife, in addition to its charming, hand-drawn 2D art, bossa nova music, and a gameplay loop that's challenging but rewarding. The game is a few years old, and with one purchase, you have full access to the game beginning to end. If this is a game for you, then check out Have a Nice Death. The Last Spell. Do you like bleak fantasy worlds that have you defending the last bastions of humanity in a desperate attempt to overturn the unending hordes of undead that seek to snuff out humanity's last light? Well, The Last Spell is the game for you. Taking place in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world, a mage discovers the equivalent of a magic nuke. He tests it on an unsuspecting village that was housing the nearby king's family. In his grief, he instructed his mages to research and learn the spell. Soon, the rest of the world learned of this spell, and following suit, the explosions felt like they would never stop until one day the world fell silent and a purple-colored miasma engulfed the world. The dead rose up and humanity was edging towards its grim end. You play as the commander, who gathers the mages that survive to conjure a spell, the Last Spell. A spell that'll erase all magic from the world. By day, it's a city builder, building fortifications, shops, and mines to gather resources, allowing you to equip your heroes with the tools they need to tackle the creatures of the night. I like this game a lot. It's fun. And there are a ton of things that keep you engaged, ranging from the deep customization of the characters, to how you want to build your city and how you want to put up your fortifications. It has a great soundtrack and missions can be pretty long. Good bang for your buck. The drawback to that is that the missions are long and there's not really any saves, so failures can be pretty rough when you get to the later maps. Well, 'tis the season for spooky games, so why not give The Last Spell a try? Do you like robots, high-octane action, frying pans, and Superbot? RoboQuest is a fast-paced, chaotic, first-person roguelite where standing still could mean certain doom. The game is incredibly fun with alternate routes, a bopping, energetic soundtrack, and the game visually stands out with its eye-catching comic book visuals, complete with onomatopoeias, cel-shaded graphics, and storytelling that feels ripped straight out of a comic book. The game has a lot of different abilities, weapons, characters that you can choose from, where the sky's the limit. Give RoboQuest a go today. That's it for those games. Now let's move on to games that are out and still being supported with updates. Have you ever wondered what Mega Man might be if it was a first-person roguelite with a myriad of different weapons, abilities, and a near-limitless mod system? Battleshapers puts you in the gauntlet of a shaper named Ada, who wakes up in the midst of a hostile takeover of New Elysium by Veros, who is aided by evil robot overlords. The game is great. Your goal is to defeat each overlord and reach Veros, and on the way you'll unlock weapons, new methods of traversal, and you'll get new ways to play by absorbing powers from those overlords that you defeat. They're pretty neat, and they do fundamentally change the way that you play the game, and how you tackle each room. By giving you different abilities like adding extra jumps, instead of punching, you throw discs, you can dash into enemies and then cause chain attacks, you can even create magnetism where you're causing additional damage. It's all pretty unique, and I like it a lot. The system is thoughtfully built up, giving you incredible amounts of freedom in how you can tackle the enemies. The weapons that you find throughout the game are unique, each having affix spots that can be filled by taking them from other weapons. So, you can take one affix from another weapon, say you have multi-shot or additional crit damage, and you can put it onto the other weapon. It lets you come up with some wacky and powerful combos. I like it. The soundtrack is killer and the gameplay sucks you in, making hours fly by. They've recently added challenges and leaderboards for those looking to be the best Battleshaper. Go check it out! Blazblue Entropy Effect. Do you like fighting games but don't want the anxiety of having to block when you're getting blasted in the corner? Blazblue Entropy Effect is the game for you. It's a fast-paced, frenetic roguelite using characters from the fighting game Blazblue. The game translates fighting game mechanics to a 2D platforming roguelite. I've been enjoying it. With a pretty large cast of characters and their most recent addition being the prisoner from Dead Cells, which adds a kind of cool, huge, gigantic scenario, which kind of shocked me how much content was in that character tutorial and how sprawling it was just for one character. It had a pretty rough boss battle, I might add, so it felt pretty intense for a tutorial. Good lord. The game is still enjoying character additions and a steady stream of improvements with content updates. I was replaying this on stream, and I was kind of shocked how incredible the game felt. It's kind of wild how much they've kind of shaken up everything and how fundamentally different the game was a year ago, and how much more fluid it is. It's great. I highly recommend it. Bloodshed. So this one's interesting. It fits more under a vampire survivor-like game. However, I couldn't resist putting this game on the list with how fun the game really is. Bloodshed pits you against the forces of hell with a cast of colorful characters, each with their own personalities and quirks, ranging from an ex-cultist with an electric pitchfork, a wisecracking average Joe, a samurai cheerleader, and a gargoyle with a Tesla cannon. There are a lot of hidden gems and voice lines in the game that got me to chuckle a couple times. Here's a couple lines.
Life into pieces. This is my first resort.
Squad goals. Absolutely demolished.
The only thing rising faster than my level is my blood pressure.
Time to kill them all. Time to kill them all.
And I didn't even list off all the characters. The game feels like Doom with a vampire survivor-like gameplay loop. Each map has a time limit pitting you against the forces of evil. Each kill nets you XP, allowing you to level up, get new abilities, and aid you in your struggle. In between missions, you can buy skills and abilities that persist, making this a fun hybrid game borrowing from different genres to make one killer game. I highly recommend it. Now that those are out of the way, these games are for people looking for something new or something a little bit more experimental. For the individual looking more into the potential of a game rather than the final product. Here are some games that are early access but are actively being worked on. Hyperlight Breaker is an open-world extraction roguelite putting you in the shoes of a breaker. A ranger tasked with defeating the Abyss King and reclaiming the world from a post-apocalyptic event involving titans. It's a prequel to Hyperlight Drifter, and the game captures the slick, snappy gameplay the top-down sprite game had, which is impressive. I had some major complaints about the game early on, but after the Double Down update, the game is shaping up and the future's looking bright. Each breaker is unique, weapons reward different playstyles, and the combat is fun and rewarding. You gather in the overworld, getting weapons and materials and money to get enough strength to fight each of the crowns, servants of the Abyss King. It's pretty good. Dig it out. They do a ton of stuff on their streams, and their Patreon has a lot of cool stuff for aspiring devs or people that are curious about game development. Both will be linked down below. Check out the game and their Patreon today. Ovis Loop is pretty interesting. The game takes place in a distant future where wolves have discovered a rare mineral known as manium. Well, surprise, surprise, it made them crazy. Their bodies fell apart, resorting to mechanical augmentation in order to survive. At some point, they found sheep's blood to be a temporary cure for this, so sheep were harvested to near extinction, and as a result, the wolves' addiction to manium have mined the planet to exhaustion, resulting in a harsh environment forcing the other animals underground. You play as Omega, a genetically modified super sheep looking to fix that. It's pretty unique and it's pretty neat. Every event that happened in the game, like the special events where you get to interact with different characters or scenarios, it was kind of incredible how much they managed to pack in there and how many different variances of interactions or different ways that you can go about the game there are for an early access game. And on top of that, they're still supporting it, they're still coming out with updates, and their Discord's pretty active. There's a lot of content there, and they're projected to add a bunch more. And so, go check out Ovis Loop today. I've featured White Knuckle on this channel before, but I love talking about how fun this game really is, and how special it is. White Knuckle is one of the most stressful, fear-inducing games that I have ever played. You play as a nameless character who must ascend an abandoned facility, racing against a mass of corpses and the denizens of the facility in a desperate bid to escape. The lore is fascinating, and the game does a great job of capturing that anxiety and the palm-sweating fear that if you miss, it'll be your last. Pick up the game today. You won't regret it. Nine Kings is a game that feels like it could fit right next to Minesweeper on Windows XP. It's a fun deck builder strategy game that has you select one of 9 kings. See what they did there? Where you place your castle and use cards from your faction plus cards you acquire from other kings that you're at war with during any play session. Games are around 20 minutes and the gameplay loop is pretty laid back for when you need to kill time. It's a fun game that's pretty pick up and play and a lot of fun with tons of ways to play. Okay, so this one's an honorable mention, and more kind of like a guilty ad. I wanted to talk about Ratatan. The game is recently out in early access, coming out of an early beta, and is the spiritual successor to the PSP game series Patapon, putting you in the shoes of a Ratatan who controls a little squad of Kobans, taking on a variety of enemies. Each face button is a different rhythm, and when timed right, gives your Kobans commands. It's fun, and I accidentally spent a whole stream playing it instead of getting footage for this video. I added it last minute because it just entered early access and I've kind of been waiting for it to be kind of out so I could talk about it. So if you like Patapon or you want to play a roguelite strategy game that relies on rhythm, check out Ratatan. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that list, and I wanted to pick a lot of different roguelites so that there's a good chance that there's something there for you. Thanks again for checking out the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, be safe. Bye-bye.